All right, guys, part 2 with operations of radicals is multiplying radicals, and this just could not be simpler. If you take a look at the steps 1, 2, 3, you're going to multiply your coefficient. Remember, your coefficient is the number that's out here in front of the radical. You're going to multiply the radicands using the product rule, which means the square root of a times the square root of b is the square root of a times b. So really you just multiply the radicands together. They don't have to be the same. And then you're just going to simplify whatever you get for your answer. So let's go through a couple of problems here. This is really not going to take long because these are just not difficult. First thing you're going to do is multiply your coefficients. And remember here, square root of 8 has no coefficient, so that's really coefficient of 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Square root of 8 times square root of 2 is square root of 16. Now, you have to be careful because the square root of 16 can be simplified. What is the square root of 16? It is 4. So this is really negative 3 times 4, which means your answer is actually negative 12. So you got to make sure at the end that you do whatever needs to be done necessary to simplify. Take a look at number 2. We have square root of 3 times negative square root of 2. These are both really have a 1 in front. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Square root of 3 times square root of 2 is square root of 6. And 6 cannot be broken down any further because if you do, you're just going to get 3 and 2 and there's no pairs and you'll have to stick with 6. So this is your answer. Now, of course, we normally don't write negative 1, so we would just put negative square root of 6. For number 3, 5 square root of 10 times negative 7 square root of 12. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. 10 times 12 is 120. And surely we can break down 120. So let's give that a shot. That would be 12 times 10. 10 breaks down to 5 and 2. 12 breaks down to 6 and 2. 6 breaks down to 3 and 2. So this is negative 35 square root of, let's see, I've got 3 2's, a 3, a 5, and a 6. So I'm going to take a pair of 2's and put a 2 out front, but I don't have any other pairs, so I'm just going to have to multiply these back together. 6 times 5 is 30, 30 times 2 is 60, 60 times 3 is 180. That doesn't seem right. Oh, wait a second. That's because it's not right. Hello. The 6 shouldn't be there. I circled things that didn't need to be circled. There we go, 1, 3, and 1, 5. Okay, this makes more sense. 180 was just way too big of a number. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30. So there we go. This is where we're going to be. Simplify out front. And this is going to be our answer. You guys, it's not so easy to talk and write at the same time. Let's try another one. Let me redeem myself here. Let's go to number 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And 14 times 8 is, I don't even know, and I don't have my calculator handy. Let's see, 112. All right, let's break down 112. If I divide by 2, that would be 56. 56 is 8 times 7. 8 is 4 times 2, and 4 is 2 times 2. Let me make sure I did that correctly. So negative 8, and I've got 4 2's and a 7. So a pair of 2's and another pair of 2's. That means 2 2's will come out front. Keep the root 7. Negative 8 times 2 is 16. Negative 16. Negative 16 times 2 is negative 32. Negative 32 root 7 is what we will have. All right, so multiply your coefficients, multiply the radicands, and then be very careful simplifying your radical. Don't be like me and mess up. Let's take a look. I'm going to skip over the ones with the letters for just a second. Let's look on the next page where we have, for example, here. This looks a little bit different, but let's think about it for a second. This is just the distributive property. So square root of 6 times 3 is 3 square root of 6, and square root of 6 times 8 is square root of 48. And then at this point, you would break down your factor tree. You would replace your radicand. You would take out pairs. I've got 2 pairs. And now, since I've got square root of 6 and square root of 3, I can't go any further. They're not like terms, so this would be my answer. All right. So, you know, whether it's written with a multiplication symbol in between, like these, or whether it's distributive property, multiplying is multiplying, okay? So let's go back now to the letter 1. So you guys actually don't have to be able to multiply with variables at this point, or simplify radicals with variables, but there's no reason that you can't. This is an extension for pre-AP Algebra 1, and you know how to multiply variables, so there's no reason why we can't do it. We're going to have a 1 coefficient here, and 4 times 1 is 4. And then we're going to multiply 6n squared times 6n. Well, 6 times 6 is 36, and n squared times n is n to the 3rd. Now, here's where it gets fun breaking it down. I'm going to break down the 36 into 6 times 6, 3, 2, 3, 2. All right. And I'm going to break down the n to the 3rd power, which is really n times n times n. So this is root 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times n times n times n. And then again, we're still going to look for pairs. Here's a pair of 3s. Here's a pair of 2s. And here's a pair of n's. What's left underneath? 1 baby little n. Now, if we simplify this, 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, 24n square root of n. All right, you break it down the same way. When you factor a variable, you don't even really have to do the tree. N to the 3rd, you already know is going to be n times n times n. If it was n to the 6th, it would be n times n times n times n times n times n. There would be 6 of them, right? So that's how you can do those types of problems. I'll do one more for you, which is number 6 here. We're multiplying negative 5 times 3. That's negative 15. 20 times 15 is, I don't know, 0, 10, 0, 0, 2, 300. Oh yeah, that's right, 15 times 2. Okay, so 300. And then x times x is x squared. So I'm going to break down the 300. I know it's 20 times 15, so I guess I could break that right back down again. 20 is 10 times 2. 10 is 5 times 2. 15 is 5 times 3. So I've got negative 15. I'm going to leave myself a lot of space here. I've got 2 5s, 2 2s, and a 3. And then x squared would be x and x. Take out pairs. Here's a pair of 5s. Here's a pair of 2s. Everything else, oh, actually I can take out an x too, can't I? And the 3 is going to stay under the radical by itself. Now simplify back the beginning again. 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 times negative 15 would be negative 150 x square root of 3. Okay, so that's how you do those with the variables. That's an extension. And basically the rest of these problems are very similar to all of those, okay? Oh, let's talk about this one real quick. Now, you know that we don't do FOIL. I know some of you know FOIL because you've been doing it, you were doing it in the back of my room this year, and that's fine. If you can do it, great. But those of you who don't know what FOIL is or know how to do it, this is basically 2 binomials, right? We're just going to multiply 2 binomials the way that we know how to do it by using the box method. So I have 4 square root of 3, 2 negative square root of 3. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times square root of 3 is 2 square root of 3. 4 times negative square root of 3 is negative 4 square root of 3. And negative square root of 3 times positive square root of 3 is negative square root of 9. We're going to write it out. And we're going to simplify. I have like terms right here. 2 square root of 3 minus 4 square root of 3 is negative 2 square root of 3. And hello, what's the square root of 9? 3. So I have more like terms. 8 minus 3 is 5. There we go. Okay? Multiply, combine your like terms, break down anything that needs to be broken down, and try to combine like terms again. That is the name of this game. So I'd like you to finish all of the problems on this page up to number 18. Check your answers with the answer key that I've posted. Then go on to the next page, which says homework 4. And you're also going to do this page, which has 20 problems. Don't skip 19 and 20 because they look scary. No, they don't. You can do it. And then check your answers on this page. As always, email me if you have any questions or concerns. Next time.